All right. So, a very good morning to all of you here who are attending this month's free webinar from Cancer Research Malaysia. So, this may or may not be your first time listening to me. My name is Amanda C, and I am a science communicator from Cancer Research Malaysia. And for today's topic on this webinar, we are going to talk about what can your DNA tell you? Can you test for cancer risk? Also, what sort of early steps can you take to step ahead of everyone? But in basis, we're actually going to be talking about Cancer Research Malaysia Technologies, Sdn Berhad, or CTSB for short. And CTSB is actually, managed by our guest for today, so Dr. Low Ley Hian. So hi, Ley Hian, how are we feeling today?
Hi, Amanda. Today is a very wet morning, but I think we will have a great time together today.
Awesome, that's amazing. So are you ready for the questions?
Yeah, just go for it.
Okay, that's perfect. So I think people here might be curious on who you are. So can you first tell us a little about yourself and the work that you do at Cancer Research Malaysia? I mean, I'm your colleague. I know what you do, but you have to tell it to our audience.
Yeah, so you have to listen to my story again. So my name is Ley Hian, and then I'm from Petaling Jaya. And then previously, my previous life, I was trained as a scientist. So I enjoyed my scientific journey as a neuroscientist. So I did my undergrad in Monash, Malaysia, and then I went to Melbourne to do my PhD in 2008. And then from 2008, I finished my PhD, and then I continued to work as a postdoc in Melbourne. And then I decided to go to San Francisco together with my wife. She also a scientist, to go to do my postdoc in San Francisco. So we spent our overseas time a total about 10 years in overseas. And then it was during in San Francisco, I started feeling like whether I should continue my academia lifestyle. And then I was very intrigued and very enticed by the biotech industry scene in San Francisco, because in San Francisco is a biotech hub over there. The new companies popping up, and I was so excited with them. And then I networked extensively. And eventually in 2017, I managed to transition from academia to industry. So that's where I joined biotech companies. And then I started with a generalist role. Later, the company that I joined eventually grew from 5%. I was the number 5 employee, and then they grew until 300 people. And then I've seen the boom of biotech, and also at the moment, it's slower in biotech, but this experience allowed me to grow from a generalist, then to a person who do clinical study, then later to a person who do product development, and eventually I get into the business development business stream. So right now, my role at Cancer Research Malaysia, more accurately, is a CRMY Technologies and Sdn Berhad. I am the head of business development. I am leading the team to commercialize things that we do from Cancer Research Malaysia, either the research or the programs, or whatever things that we can think of, we can spin off for commercial activities. And these commercial activities will allow us to generate additional revenue apart from donations to supplement the good work done in Cancer Research Malaysia.
Sounds like a lot of things that you have to do, Ley, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're often a very busy person. I can definitely see that in the office. So it's okay. All right. So now that we know a bit about your background, your time in Melbourne and San Francisco. So actually, even I want to know myself. So what exactly is CTSB, Cancer Research Malaysia Technologies Sdn Berhad? Well, that's really mouthful. But yeah, what does CTSB do? And also, what is the purpose of it? Because we have our own company, CRMY, and then we have another one. So is it like a subsidiary or something?
Yes, it is actually a subsidiary. So please allow me to share a slideshow to further elaborate on this point,
Yes,
right?
please go ahead. Yeah,
Let me
sure.
click on it.
Okay.
All right. So do you see the three verticals there? So CRMY Technologies in Berhad, we call it CTSB. So this is to first to compliance with the LHGN regulation. The reason is because for Cancer Research Malaysia, we are actually a charitable foundation. And for charitable foundation, the revenue stream from a charitable foundation is strictly from donations. And all donations, meaning that we couldn't offer services or sell products to get our revenue. So that's why having a Sendran Berhad, and this is approved by the Ministry of Finance and also the LGN, to allow us to have a second layer so that we can commercialize our activities, and then our activities then generate additional revenue for subsidizing and for donating back to Cancer Research Malaysia. So that's number one role of CTSB. Second role is to technology transfer and also commercialization, because throughout the last 25 years, I can imagine that the hard work of the Cancer Research Malaysia scientists, they have put in heart and blood and sweat for developing things. For example, the flagship items is our cancer vaccine. The cancer vaccine was developed throughout the last 15 years, and then now it's ready for clinical trial. And in order for clinical trial, we need to spin off that cancer vaccine to fundraise. So that is one of the items that we are working on. And also we also have been doing about 20 years of genetic counseling and testing research. And now it's a good time to provide this very official service for our customers. And the only way that we do that is to go through CTSB to provide good services for the customers and eventually receive the income for the payment for this service legally from this vehicle. And third is we hope that we can monetize CRMY research, either is productization of the cancer vaccine or helping to structure a program, consultation program in the future. So those are the things that we can do, and we can use creative methods for this business designing in the future using this vehicle. So the corporate structure is actually as follows. So you can see the first layer. Let me show the laser. So first layer is we have Cancer Research Malaysia, which is a charitable foundation. And then CTSB is 100% owned by Cancer Research Malaysia. So actually we are fully owned, and then the function is for us to get revenue, and all this revenue eventually we will donate back to Cancer Research Malaysia so that we can supplement our research and scientists better. And one of the key things that I am really envisioning is we can generate enough income so that we can retain very, very good scientists in Cancer Research Malaysia, so that other countries very nearby will not poach our scientists, and then they can continue to do good job for Cancer Research Malaysia. So and these are just the three basic verticals of business lines that we have been working on so far. So we have one brand called Genetics, which is the genetic counseling and testing. So since 2024, we have empowered 450 patients through genetic counseling, and then we have major partnership with some major hospitals and become our strategic channel partners. And then we have 2 clinics right now. We have one in Subang Jaya Medical Center and one in Picasso Hospital. And then later we'll talk about the MeMoSA, which is the oral cancer scanning app that we already have some commercial activities going on, and we are securing some partnership with some dental chain as well. And also for the cancer vaccine project, we are actively looking for funding for this. And then the rough amount is about $10 million USD that we are securing. We want to secure for this project to move on. So that are just the 3 slides I want to share, so that this structure can be remembered, why we want to have CTSB and how does CTSB help Cancer Research Malaysia.
Okay, so just to make sure that I got it right, I mean, obviously because I work at CRMY, just like you. So yeah, we are a non-profit organization. So that means we 100% depend on donors and also sponsorships and also research grants, which our scientists, they always have to apply for. And because of that, we can't really sell things, right? Because we are a charitable organization. So if we do something like that, it's going to violate the LHDN regulations, right? So that's why we decided to find another way around it, just sneakily do something like that. And then that's why CTSB was developed in the first place. So again, like you've said, it's about the commercialization and also the monetization for our company. So while we are also getting donations from people and others, we still want more because it's very expensive to actually conduct research. And I think you mentioned earlier with regards to our oral cancer vaccine, it's already been going for like how many years? 15, 20 years?
The research went through 15 years of validation and processes, and now it's good time. And then that I have to justify that cancer vaccine is not only for oral cancer. It's
It can be for,
a broad spectrum, and then it can be for lung cancer, it can be for other cancers, and also for oral cancer as well.
But
And
of course, if we want to make sure that this vaccine works for all types of cancers, we have to reach the end of the clinical stage, and it has to be successful. Otherwise, what's the point of it in the first place? So as you said, it does take a lot of time. It does take a lot of money and time, and unfortunately, not a lot of people, not a lot of Malaysians are aware of this fact. So that's why I guess so. Through CTSB, because you mentioned that we have genetics, and then we also have MeMoSA. So those are like the two main projects that we are working on. And then, of course, at the same time, we also want to work on the vaccine project. So does this mean that, so basically, does it mean that if all the money that we get from providing patients with services, the money will also all go into the research, into funneling into research, right? So I think that's the point that I'm getting.
The concept is correct. So on top of that, if we have any profits, then the profit will go back to Cancer Research Malaysia. So I also want to reiterate what you say just now and resonate a little bit. So for Cancer Research Malaysia and CTSB, two different vehicles. Some companies, they have CSL programs that they are allowed to donate for cancer research. So they are very happily donating it already. But with CTSB, we have an opportunity, the opportunity to create different value propositions so that at least they are not getting, they are not just donating. We are providing fair value of services for them to transact with us so that they can also do good for the society. So the CTSB are all approved by the Ministry of Finance and also from the LGN. So we hope that we are using this vehicle well so that we can do good for cancer research and also do good for society.
I see. Yeah, because we have our own limitations as a CRMY, and so CTSB is one sort of solution to bypass the limitation, right? Something like that.
Diversify the revenue.
Awesome. So now let's talk about genetics and also MeMoSA. So Lei Hian, could you tell us a bit about genetics, what exactly it is? Because I'm sure not many people have heard about it. We are still working our way to expanding and increasing public awareness and knowledge. So could you just give me a brief summary of what genetics is all about?
Yeah, so genetics is a brand. We are working on genetic counseling and genetic testing services. So as you can imagine, that in Malaysia and also in the world, there are more and more people suffering from cancer. The one in many people now is a smaller and smaller gap. And then more people are affected by cancer, not only for the patient themselves, but for their entire family. So we heard many stories that cancer patient, because of one cancer case detected very late, and then they spend a lot of money for treating the patient, and eventually the whole family has a financial constraint of this. So for the genetics or genetic brand, right, is because in Cancer Research Malaysia, we have done many years of genetic testing and also genetic counseling research. And then we just published a recent paper on the willingness of payment for genetic counseling paper, and just recently published. Kudos to Cancer Research Malaysia scientists. And then because of our tremendous vast experience for the genetic counseling and testing, we then officially commercialized this activity and then created genetics brand in order for us to officially provide genetic counseling and testing services for patients and users. So the motto of genetics brand is we want to empowering life with expert genetic counseling. So this is the vision that we hope that every family and friends will be empowered by the knowledge of their genetic information, whether cancer or other disease. When they are informed with their disease risk, either cancer or other disease risk, they can take positive steps and actions towards their healthy lifestyles. So we are trying to empower and educate people so that they can make positive changes in their life. So that is the vision that genetics brand is having for the future. And if we can help people to detect earlier cancer risk by knowing that they have higher risk, and then they do more screening, and then they detect the cancer earlier, that will reduce the burden for not only for the patient themselves, but for the entire family. So this is the good that we are trying to do for the society.
Understand. Because usually when people think about how they get cancer, they usually think it's because of old age. As you get older, you have a higher risk of getting cancer. And there's also lifestyle, like certain lifestyle, like the very heavy consumption of alcohol. You drink a lot of alcohol, or you smoke, or you eat really you partake in unhealthy lifestyle. So obviously that's going to increase your risk of developing diseases, and that also includes cancer. But some people are not aware of inherited cancers. So based on my understanding on genetics is what you are particularly looking at. So inherited cancers, obviously they come from your own family, right? So I think it's personally very easy to actually detect for inherited cancers, because I think you just need to look at your family history, right? So if, say for example, maybe you notice that your grandfather has passed away from cancer, and then maybe one of your parents has cancer, or maybe the uncle or the aunt. So if you notice that there is a pattern, so there is a obviously you have the right to feel concerned about yourself, because it sort of runs in the family. So I think, yeah, it's a great thing that Malaysians should be aware of their potential cancer risk, so that instead of just playing the waiting game, they can go and get like genetic services, so they can get genetic testing and counseling, and then see whether or not they have a risk of getting cancer. So I think
totally agree.
yes,
And knowledge is power, right? So when we have the
exactly,
knowledge, then we
exactly.
can add on to the knowledge that we
Yeah.
know, and then we can take positive steps to change our lifestyle.
Absolutely, yeah. Because as you've said, knowledge is very powerful, and we have access to it like every single time. Whenever we want, we can just like pull out our phone right over here. We can just use Google or Chat GPT if that's your preference. AI is about everything nowadays. But the problem is that even though cancer, the big C, is such a huge thing, it's like almost everyone in the world knows about cancer. Unfortunately, they don't know the right things about cancer, because there's like information circulating around the internet. There's also like misinformation. So sometimes people may read something wrong, and they don't take the right steps when something happens, or they just simply don't know and they choose to ignore it until it's too late. So that's usually the case that deters people from seeking the right treatment, seeking the right steps to do in order to, you know, treat cancer in the first place. So yeah, I mean, absolutely agreed with what you said. So again, it's very important. So if you do notice that there is anything strange, you know, in your family history, then it's best for you and maybe your children, you know, further down the bloodline, it's good for you to get it tested out so that you know and you can prevent it and also, you know, save your future generations as well. Yeah, I think that's my whole understanding on the basis for genetics. Because yeah, empowerment and also knowledge are very important. Very, very important.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I have another question for you. So I think some people may be interested in knowing how exactly the journey is like for genetics. Say, for example, if they want to engage in genetic services. So usually what are the steps? Like, is there like a lot of steps? Is it very complicated?
Yeah, so glad that you asked. So in many of the consumer genetic testing, right? You saw advertisement, you click on the ad, and they say, try now, pay now, discount available. Then you just pay, and then you just get a kit, the sample kit, and then you do the test, and then you sign off. But this is not what Cancer Research Malaysia or genetics is trying to do. So because of our vast experience for the last 20 years for our genetic counseling services, we realized that people still rely on the warmth of human touch to convince and then also to comfort you throughout the journey. So we then propose and advocate for the pre-test counseling portion. So this is very different because when you have someone to tell you the step number one is the pre-test counseling, which allow you to talk to someone who knows cancer and the genetics already. Second is to allow you to ask question, what if you know about the risk? How should you handle it already? And then third is, if you do this test, if you are having a risk, should you tell or should you not tell your family down the line? So having someone to answer your question and reassure about this journey is the thing that we are actually the core service that we are providing. And then after you understand from the pre-test counseling session from the counselors on what are the things that you should be worried about and be aware about. And then if you provided your consent for doing the test after understanding all the risks, then we only proceed with the second step, which is to take your sample and then send your sample for analysis. So this step is rather direct, just taking either your blood or saliva and then send it to our lab, and then our lab will inform us the results. Once the result is back, then this comes step number 3, where the counselors will then make appointment with the users, and the users will come together and then talk about the results, interpreting how does each genetic mutations or genetic differences leads to either risk or no risk or uncertainty. So this process is very clear. Step 1 is pre-test counseling. Step 2 is the consent and taking sample, and then for the sample analysis. And then step 3 is the post-test counseling. And then after post-test counseling, if you really identify that you are a high-risk person, then we'll refer you to the right clinician to help you to manage your risk as well. And then from just now the understanding the risk that you have, you can, based on this knowledge, to do more active screening so that you can either pick up any diseases in case there is any abnormalities in your body already. So we want to advocate for the genetic counseling services so that people can be assured and that people feel the emotional warmth throughout this journey, and that it's just not through an advertisement. Click your buttons and then eventually receive the test and get a report, and not understanding how does the report means to you. And I also like to advocate for 2 different types of tests. So one, the test that we are offering is a diagnostic test, meaning that it's a all certified, accredited lab conducting the test, and then this is for diagnostics purposes. And the one that I want everyone to also be aware of, there is also some consumer test that is for fun entertainment If
Yeah,
you
is
feel
it
like
is
you
it
like,
something like ancestry.com that we usually see? Like
yeah,
I always see that like popping out of nowhere, like, oh, just send us your DNA and then we can tell where your ancestors come from. And then some people think, oh my God, I'm like 1% Italian. That's so cool. Just like that. Are those like considered
yeah, those are
consumer
consumer
types, right?
tests. So those consumer tests is up to your discretion. If you feel like you have the resources to spend for
Yeah.
getting those consumer tests, it's up to you. But
So
for us,
it's
we are
like
advocating
it's
for
like for
genetic
fun,
tests.
right? It's like for
It's,
fun. You do it for
it's
fun,
for
just
fun. You know some information, but whether the information is conclusive or not is
uh,
up for us to
I
interpret. Yeah.
see, I see. But then on the other hand, the packages and the services that genetics provides, it's related to your health.
It's
So you
diagnostic
have
test. Yeah.
to more or less make a health-based decision
Mhm.
based on your results. So
Yeah.
that's completely different. Something a bit more serious, because again, we're talking about health in the first place.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I also really liked the part where you mentioned about how the emotional warmth and all of that regarding for humans. Because yeah, I mean we are all social animals at the end of the day, so we do need like face-to-face like human interaction. But then what if, say for example, the patient is living like in some other state in
Mhm.
Malaysia, like say for example like Sarawak or Sabah, is there like something like an online consultation or something like that? Do they provide it?
Yeah, thank you for asking this as well. So we do. So many of our patients are from other states, so we don't
Oh,
need to see them face to face. We can organize telecounseling,
I see. I
telecounseling
see.
through Zoom accounts, and then after that, we will identify and get their consent. If they say that they want to do a test, we'll send a kit to them. Then they will send back the sample to us, and then we will process everything, and then we organize another counseling session as well. This
So
is
how, I'm actually very curious, sorry,
mm,
sorry for interrupting here. I'm
no
very
worries.
curious. So how exactly do you send the test over? Because
Mm,
previously you said there's like two ways you can do it. You can do it by blood and you can do it by saliva. And
mm.
I'm assuming that obviously you don't ask them to draw out your own blood and like something like that, right? I don't know how does it work. So how is the test like?
Yeah, if it's from other states, we will use the easier way, which is saliva. And
Okay.
then, but if let's say the patient has their own clinicians who refer them to us, then they can definitely go back to their clinicians and then get the nurse to draw the blood and then send back the blood to us.
I see, I see.
Mhm.
That's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I got worried thinking that you might be sending some samples here and there. Then our postage is not really the most delicate when it comes to handling packages.
Actually,
So
we have
I'm just
already resolved that logistics part. So now it become very seamless. Our team has been experienced in handling this. So far we don't have problems for handling
Oh,
the
that's
logistics.
great. That's
Yeah.
great to know. Yeah, that's great. So I think it's very convenient that you do offer like online teleconsultation for
Mhm.
Malaysians who live in other states because again, not everyone lives in Klang Valley, not everyone lives in Kuala Lumpur or whatsoever. So yeah, that's why sometimes traveling may be an issue, just in order to seek out for tests or treatments.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's great. It's great that you managed to figure it out, all for genetics. So, okay, those are basically what I wanted to ask you
Mm.
specifically for genetics.
Can I say
And if
something more for
yes,
genetics?
you may. Yes, you may. Sure, sure,
So
sure.
for now, we are offering different categories of risk. So we have one cancer risk category of tests that allow the users to identify what kind of cancer risk they have. Second is we also provide carrier screening, which means that the users will know whether they or their partner, it's always good to do it together, and then whether they or their partner is a carrier of any genetic diseases. So this is good for people who would like to do family planning in the future. And then we are
Yes.
also onboarding a new category of tests, which is for the cardio risk, also familiar hypercholesterolemia. Malaysians, we are always in the higher side for cholesterol. So
Yeah.
this genetic test will allow the users and their family members to know whether they have any higher risk for the cardio disease. So
Oh, so
three
it's
categories.
related to the heart, right? Yeah, in
Yes.
case some
Yeah.
people here
So
might
number
not
one
know
is
what
the
cardio is.
cancer
Yeah.
risk. Second is
Uh-huh.
the carrier screening, and then third is the cardio risk test that we are onboarding very soon.
Oh, okay, that's wonderful. Awesome. Thanks for sharing about it, Lei Hian. All
No
right.
worries.
So now let us talk about the second project. So this one is MeMoSA. So for those of you who are wondering what exactly is MeMoSA all about, it's basically our AI-powered app which helps to detect for oral cancer symptoms. So, Lei Hian, I've told them just a bit about MeMoSA. So, can you help me talk a bit more about, what CTSB is doing with this AI-powered app? And do you have any plans for future development with it?
Yeah, so maybe I start with a little bit of the genesis of the MeMoSA, right?
Yes,
So
sure.
this app is basically based on our scientist observation in Sarawak, where the villagers first they need to travel long and far, sometimes up to 3 to 6 hours per trip from their village to the health facility in the town. And then by traveling the whole day, those villagers might lose their job because some of them they are in daily contract jobs, and
Oh,
then
yeah,
a lot
daily
of people
wage.
they
Yeah.
don't have the motivation to go for oral health check in the city or in the town.
I
So
see.
plus also their villagers diet habit also leads to higher risk of oral cancer. And when we observe this, and then we also observe that actually almost everyone has a mobile phone. So why not we use a better solution to solve this problem, where we develop an app. That app will bring by the volunteers to the village to scan the villages. And
Okay.
this will allow us to have a wider coverage of the oral cancer care in Sarawak. And we did a pilot with the Ministry of Health dentist in Sarawak. And then we realized that that app actually improved their efficiency by tenfold. Previously,
Oh.
1 year in Sarawak, they are able to only scan less than 200 people. But because of us and our app and our volunteers together with the KKM dentists in Sarawak, we are able to scan close to 2,000 people because of this workflow. And so this is the genesis of the app. And you can imagine that this app actually is a research tool. And then it is not a consumer app. And then we are thinking of how can we commercialize this in urban setting or in corporate setting, so that people will be willing to pay for the app or the services or the consultation project and allow us to do good in villages as well. So
I
right
see.
now, CTSB has started modeling some potential collaborations where we have two major thought process of the programs. So one is we want to offer for corporate screening. For example, let's say any companies of, let's say, use our donors companies, they might have an employee engagement day. They want cancer vaccination to provide a health talk. And then we can also provide the MeMoSA scanning services on the spots, so that the app can be useful to identify whether the employees of that company needs to be referred to a specialist or not. So that's number one. Number two
Okay.
is much more towards taking care of the community for community service. It's like we can engage. I just use a random township. So let's say in Sunway Matari. Sunway Matari, there is the apartments or flats have very dense B40 community. We can engage a sponsor to sponsor us to do the job in this community, so that we can co-brand the event, and then the corporate sponsors we win from marketing, and win also from the co-branding logo exposure, while we are able to help the KKM dentist to understand this demographic, whether this demographic of users need better attention of oral care or not. Okay, so the results of these programs is first, we are able to identify patients that needs to be referred to the specialist as soon as possible. And then by referring them to the specialist as soon as possible, if they can identify any malignant, meaning cancerous lesions, this will allow them to get early treatment as well. So if the patient's wound or injury or lesions is not anything of worry about, then they have a much better quality of life because they don't need to worry about that anymore. So we are thinking of these two projects, and we also have engaged some other countries' Ministry of Health as well to see whether they are interested in collaborating with us, and then we can do a pilot project for them to demonstrate this effectiveness. So for the future planning of this, I also think that we should incorporate the AI part more effectively to the app, because right now we are still working on the AI, which we want to achieve the target of 95% accuracy. Right now we have about 90%, and then all our process are all screened by the specialists at this moment. But in future, we want to assist the specialists to have an assistant tool to reduce their screening time, reduce their reviewing time by the AI. And then if we can already notify the patient on the spot based on AI, and then second pass to the specialist, that will give special assurance for the villagers as well.
Oh, I see. Wow, lots and lots of information actually. So if you don't mind, Lei Hian, I just want to throw in a few facts about the situation of specifically oral cancer here in Malaysia, so that our audience will know a bit about the context of what you're talking about. So oral cancer is categorized under head and neck cancer. So head and neck cancer is just basically a more general term to describe the region here. So it can be your throat, it can be your nose, your mouth, etc. So oral cancer is actually the it's classified as the fourth most common cancer here in Malaysia. So the first is lung cancer, second is breast cancer, and the third one is colorectal cancer. So the fourth one will be oral cancer under head and neck cancer. And the people who are most affected, who are at highest risk of this, are the indigenous people that live in East Malaysia, like Sarawak and Sabah. So that's why, in case any of you are wondering why Lei Hian is talking about villages, he's not talking about citizens in particular. So because we have identified certain habits that they practice over there, like chewing on daun sirih. So I think most of us Malaysians will know what daun sirih is, and it's called betel quid in English. So they chew on that, and that also increases their risk of getting oral cancer. So since we know that they are the one who are the highest risk group, so that's why we decided to focus MeMoSA on that population instead of the rest of other Malaysians, of course. So we are currently dishing out MeMoSA. We're implementing it in Sarawakian villages. So it's not Sabah yet. No, not for Sabah yet, right, Lei Hian? I don't think so. Not yet. So right now it is purely for Sarawak, but of course in the future, hopefully we can expand it to Sabah and maybe some other rural communities and areas in Peninsular Malaysia as well. So so basically right now it's just right over there for the villages, as Lei Hian has already said. And over there we have our scientists and also some healthcare volunteers to actually reach out to these people, and then take the phone with the app over there and just take a picture of their oral cavity. And then of course on the other end, the specialist will be able to see whether or not, something looks suspicious or something looks weird inside their mouth. And based on their knowledge and expertise, these dental specialists can tell whether or not, you know what, I think this is very suspicious. It may or may not be oral cancer. So it's best for the patients to actually go to the clinic and then have it checked out. because a lot of people actually do die from, or a lot of oral cancer patients, they actually die, and it's because of late detection. So most of the time they just ignore it until it is already too late. So when you have already reached, like, say, stage 3 or stage 4, your chances of surviving oral cancer, it's very, very low. So that's just to give a bit of context for our audience here, in case they still don't really understand what's going on. And so, Lei Hian, now that we know that MeMoSA is implemented in villages for the time being, I just want to know, will it actually benefit, like, say, private dental clinics in the future? Will it go towards that direction, instead of relying on the community and also the scientists to go to the villages and actually implement it?
Yeah, so our vision is actually it's not only for the specialists or the villagers only, but we want to penetrate to the private dental clinics, and in the future we also want to find our pathway for maybe GPs. So we think about it, right? In the modern urban scenario, when people have any of this lesion on mouth, ulcer, or any of their pain, right? They'll go either to the GP first or the dentist first before they are referred to some other specialists. But
Okay.
a lot of the dental clinics, dentists, their career path might not be the maxillofacial pathologist. So they are not the specialists for reviewing oral cancer. They are doing maybe orthodontics for the braces,
Yeah, a lot of dentists are usually
or
more like
skilling. Yeah,
orthodontics, like aesthetics and all of that. But
agree.
there's very limited number of
Mm-mm.
dental specialists that actually focuses on
Yeah.
cancer.
Yeah, so that's why we hope that through MeMoSA we can collaborate with a few dental chains so that they can rely on our app to inform them whether their patients with lesions, with the ulcers or whichever white patch will is it referable or not? If referable, then this will save a person's life as early as possible.
Yes.
So we have good hopes on this, and then we have trained the AI for referable lesions decision-making process. And then this will assist the dental clinics to identify needful patients for more advanced medical care for their oral health. So I have good hopes for this, and then we also hope that we are able to reach to maybe GPs as well, just general practitioner clinics. If let's say there's a patient come to them say, "Oh, doctor, I have my uh oral ulcer. Can you have a check?" Then they are not trained to review oral cancer on the spot, but at least they have an app to inform them whether it should be referred or not. So that's our strategy in the future. But yes, we think that it's benefiting
Yeah, I agree.
dental clinics and also GPs.
Yeah, it would be very, very efficient if that's the case, really, really revolutionary, if I would say.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so I guess we have known quite a lot about MeMoSA and also genetics. So now let's go back to CTSB. So since you're the head of business development and you do manage like CTSB a lot, do you have any challenges or any difficulties, faced by a CTSB? Like, what's the biggest one? Is it like, conveying information to the public? Because, CTSB is all it's quite sciencey, some people may not be able to understand it. So is that like one of the biggest challenges that you face, or is it something else?
So I think the basic challenges of CTSB is just any challenges for running any business, right? You have to solve a problem every day. So for example, let's say we need to get customers, and then we need to solve logistics. Then we need to solve suppliers, and we need to solve a lot of things. But I think that the greatest challenge right now is CTSB, because we are converting science or research tool to become a product. So in order to have a market fit, we need to have many iteration of the fine tuning of the product. Eventually, then only we can reach to the right audience and customers to be willing to pay for the product. Because if you just dish out research to the mass market, they know it's a good thing, but they might not be excited to be using that product. So my challenge and also challenge to the CTSB and also trying to trickle down this mentality to everyone is to see how can we fine-tune the product so that it is excited to be used by the mass public, and then they are willing to pay because they see a fair value of exchange. So that's my challenge number one. So there's a much more like communication and thought process design, and then also paradigm shift. Second challenge that we face is CTSB is also facing tremendous financial uncertainty in conjunction with the total global market. So if let's say there's a supply chain or tariff change from the US president, then our supply chain will increase to tremendous amount of fluctuation of price that we need to absorb, and then how can we deal with that? So that's the challenge number two. And challenge number three is because we need to be very concerned on controlling the cost. That's why we are running a very lean team. I have to say very lean team. So how do we overcome the lean human resources while continue our efficiency? We have to really adopt better and better techs in our company. For example, how are we making full use of the potential for AI in automating our processes? And also, how are we going to transform the operations to save even, let's say, if we can save 10 more minutes per patient, then in a year we can save much more time for maybe helping another more 10 patients. So those are things that I'm facing right now, and then of course we want to sustain the business as much as possible.
Yeah, best of luck with overcoming those challenges, Ley Hian.
Yeah.
Okay, so my last question to you for today is that, do you have any future plans for CTSB as in general, like overall?
Yeah, so overall, my aim is to really to sustain the genetic business as long as possible. And then for MeMoSA, we want to strike a few very good deals with collaborators, and this collaboration will lead to awareness, and then also will reach to other Ministry of Health or other countries so that they can collaborate with us as well. And then for the vaccine, I hope that we are able to achieve our fundraising target so that we can start our vaccine very soon so that we can save more people. So those are realistic goals. My long-term vision, actually, I really hope that one day CTSB will become a billionaire unicorn.
Wow.
Unicorn that can
That's
help
really
to
cool.
To help to retain and attract very good scientists to continue to do good science in Malaysia. So that is my dream. I'm working on that. It has a lot of pieces of puzzle to achieve that, but we really hope that we are able to continue to attract and also retain good talents, scientific talents in Malaysia, so that we can continue to find more hopes and cure for cancer in the future.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy, and it's definitely going to take a lot of time. But step by step, I think you should be able to achieve something, in the future. That would be great, actually. Yep. Okay. So yeah, those are actually all the questions that I have for you, Ley Hian. So thank you so much for answering them and taking time to actually attend this webinar and answer it. But now that my questions are done and answered, I can actually open questions to the floor right now to our audience. So if any of you have any questions regarding CTSB or genetics or MeMoSA, you're free to type your questions in the chat box, and of course Ley Hian will do his best to answer them. All right, so if you have any questions, just go ahead and fire them right now. Yeah, feel free to ask him as much as you like. of course. Yep. And if you don't have any questions, you can just say that you don't have any questions as well, so that we can at least know something. Okay? All right. Yep. Usually I would assume that people would be interested in genetics because lots of interest in inherited cancers and stuff like that, because some people may have a family history of cancer and they are concerned. Okay, so we have one question. All right, from Hong Yi Lo. You can check it out. Okay, so where to get tested for genetic risk, estimated cost, any financial aid for a low income person, and how to apply. And can you provide email contacts? Wow, lots of questions in one go. Lei Hian, let's go.
Yeah, so maybe I just provide you the email contacts and we can share this offline. Is it
So
okay?
wait, so how are you going to reach out to him?
I'll write my Cancer Research Malaysia my email to the
Yeah, so you can type it in the chat box. So make sure that you click it to answer to everyone. Otherwise, it's gonna be a bit, or you can just send it to him privately. It's
It's okay,
completely
I
up
can
to
just
you.
send to the chat.
Yeah.
at
Okay.
ctsb.my.
Yeah, so if you want to know anything more about the packages, you want to know about insurance and all of that financial aid, then you can actually reach out to Lei Hian personally via his email, and he'll be more than happy to provide you with further details of that.
Do you see the email address?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Wait. No. Lei
At the
Hian, because
chat.
you actually sent it to the host and panelists. So let me just
Okay.
copy it and I'll send it to everyone.
Okay.
So here we go. All right. So this one, everyone should be able to see it. Yeah. So for any further details, you can reach out to him. So Hong Yi, so let us know if you have actually gotten it, because we don't want you to miss it out. Yeah. So let us know if you have actually, you can actually see Lei Hian's email right over there. Okay. So do we have any other questions? Okay, he's got it. Great. So I guess not many people have a lot of questions. I think they're quite clear on what CTSB is all about, which is great because again, the purpose why we are holding these webinars in the first place every month, you either want to join my webinar or Vishala, my other colleague's webinar. I won't get angry if you want to choose Vishala over me. But yeah, the reason why we host these webinars in the first place is because we want to spread awareness about the work that we do here at Cancer Research Malaysia, and how our scientists and our colleagues are working really, really hard to help Malaysians battle against cancer. So we want people to know that, and also we're hoping to receive your support. So I guess there aren't actually a lot of questions. I think everyone is quite clear. So yeah, Lei Hian, you're very lucky. You don't have to talk too much today. Okay.
Maybe I'm too boring. So I don't want
No,
to ask
absolutely
questions.
not. You're a very fun
Just
chat to
joking.
talk to. Yeah. Say. Okay, so since that we don't have any more questions, let us proceed to the final bit of the webinar, which is in regards to the e-certificate. So for those of you who are interested in getting it, so the process is usually like this. Let me share something with you so that you can see it. Okay, all right. So hopefully you can see my screen. It's this big. Lei Hian, is it big enough? Can you just check to see you can see the whole thing right over there in PDF? Okay, so this is the process on how we actually send out e-certificates for our webinar. So after today's webinar, which is on the 28th of August, tomorrow on the 29th, you will receive an email from Zoom. So that contains a feedback form. So you are supposed to fill out your details. And at the bottom section, there is a part which asks, do you want an e-certificate or not? And if your answer is yes, you will receive it at a minimum donation of RM1. And then obviously you have to do your screenshot, you show us the proof of donation, and you should be able to receive your e-certificate within 30 days. So if you don't receive it within that time frame, please reach out to us through this email provided over there, which is de-comms@cancerresearch.my. So feel free to actually take out your phones and take a picture of this if you want to remember. So yeah, hopefully that clears out regarding details about our e-certificate. So again, if any issues, just reach out to us and we'll be there to assist you. All right. So hopefully we are also clear on that. Yeah. All right. So I think in that case, wow, it's almost noon. Perfect timing, perfect timing. That's wonderful. You know, people must be very eager to go for lunch and makan right now. You know how food is so important to us Malaysians. We have to go eat makan. So, well, without wasting any more of people's time. So once again, thank you so much, Ley Hian. You've been a very great person to speak to. Thank you so much. Yeah, very entertaining, not boring. So don't call yourself boring. Absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for telling us a lot about CTSB and as well as, you know, what the role is about here at Cancer Research Malaysia. So if you have any last words to say to them, you feel free to say it.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity to be on this show, and then also thank you the audience for spending your time with us as well.
On this show, man.
Yeah,
It's a
on this show,
webinar.
yeah, it's just like a Joe Rogan
All
show.
right. Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone. So hopefully I can get to see you again for our next webinar in September, October. So feel free to pick and choose whoever you want. So again, thank you so much and have a wonderful day ahead. So thank you to you too, Ley Hian.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.